Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our channel, Red Bull Coffee and Crime. We are back for another CPS failure series. This will be number 5. We have Arctic Fox, True Crime, and Garnett.
Hey,
Hello, guys.
Hey. All right, you guys. So today we are going to be going over another case that was recommended. I've never heard of this case. Um, and it is about Ethan. Do you guys know how to say his last name? Hauchultz? Maybe Ethan Hauchultz. All right. So, um, the lonesome death of Ethan Hauchultz. Child protection workers meant to rescue a boy from neglect, but they placed him with a known child abuser. The man's record didn't matter. The boy dropped the log as he finished another lap, earning 5 seconds of rest as he made his way through the yard carrying wood. He fought his way through mud and slush left over from a late season storm that had dumped nearly a foot of snow on his tiny eastern Wisconsin town. Each step was a struggle. 5 minutes of trudging, then 10, 15. Every 5 minutes or so, he fell as he labored along a trail that ran a little longer than a football field. Sometimes he landed on his back, causing the wood he was carrying, a 44.5 pound tree trunk, weighing almost as much as he did, to force the breath from his chest. 20 minutes, 25, 30. Kicks, curses, and lashes from a belt punctuated each fall. When a metal piece broke off, the belt was replaced with a long stick.
Oh,
35 minutes, 40, 45. The wax continued. Dozens became 100. The boy endured countless jabs, pokes, and other blows. 50 minutes passed, 55. The taunts came from his tormentor, Damien Hauchultz, the 14-year-old adopted son of Ethan's guardians. 60 minutes. The other children in the family said Damien was particularly angry and frustrated that day while supervising Ethan's punishment for talking back to a teacher. Damien ordered Ethan to lie in a puddle, shoving him face down into the water when he balked. He pulled off the boy's coat, they keep saying the boy, Ethan's coat and boots, and stood on his back, then grabbed a shovel and buried him beneath an estimated 80 pounds of snow in what he would later call Ethan's little coffin. When the guardian returned from an errand in Manitowoc, Manitowoc, Ethan was slumped over a log in the yard, not moving. He was then carried into the house, then driven to Holy Family Memorial Medical Center. At 9:22 p.m. on April 20th, 2018, a doctor pronounced Ethan Hauchultz dead. He was only 7 years old. We may Oh, yeah, we may have made him a bit cold. Damien Hauchultz told deputies that Timothy, his adoptive father, sometimes punished him too. Damien said Timothy had recently made him carry wood for hours, though with a lighter log than the one Ethan carried. Carrying wood meant walking a lap, dropping the wood, resting for 5 seconds, and then continuing. Damien's offense, failing to memorize 13 Bible verses. That wasn't the first prophecy of deep troubles inside the 5 bedroom wood and stone house on Clover Road in rural Newton, southwest of Manitowoc. There, Damien and his mother had lived with Timothy and Timothy's daughter from a previous relationship. When Ethan, his brother, and his sister arrived, the family of four became a family of seven. The house, I'll show you guys pictures of the houses when we're done. Timothy's daughter and Damien were sometimes expected to act like parents to the new arrivals. Damien's mother stayed in Green Bay during the week to attend community college. Timothy often left the house early to run his barn whitewashing business. Timothy's daughter was tasked with getting Ethan and his siblings ready for school. Damien enforced younger children's punishments. If Ethan or his brother had been ordered outside for 2 hours, Damien had to be put out for 2 hours too. It is his responsibility to monitor the children who are carrying wood when Timothy is gone, wrote a detective investigating Ethan's death. Damien said he doesn't say no to Timothy. It is not worth arguing with Timothy. Life on Clover Road, Damien told deputies, became boring and prison like after the younger kids arrived. The teen acknowledged feeling a burning anger inside, telling detectives he sometimes punched um, objects. In other court papers, he acknowledged significant anger problems as early as first and second grade, and nearly being expelled for breaking the nose of an older student. He was very physical, a detective wrote. He stated it helped if people feared him. Ethan, on the final day of his life, did not appear to fear Damien, at least initially.
initially.
Court documents describe a boy who tried to stick up for himself against the punishment. Through their differences weren't limited to their ages. Ethan stood 4 feet 8 inches tall, weighing 60 to 62 pounds. Damien stood 5 feet 11 and weighed 168. To detectives, Damien admitted striking Ethan nearly 100 times, saying he was annoyed because he had to be outside. When Ethan didn't rise, the older boy, along with the children in the yard that day, buried him beneath the snow. Ethan wasn't saying words. Damien told detectives instead of making slight moans or whines, his eyes were hazy and he was twitching. Eventually, he just stopped moving. Detectives said Damien told them we may have made him a bit cold. All told, Damien estimated Ethan was buried for 20 to 30 minutes. When he was unburied, two children told detectives Damien removed him at their insistence. Ethan was stiff and unresponsive. Damien realized something might be wrong. Really? He told detectives and called Timothy to say Ethan was playing or acting like he was dead. The doctor who completed Ethan's autopsy said the boy suffered hypothermia, a medical emergency in which a person's body loses heat faster than it can produce it. The boy also suffered blunt force injuries to his head, neck, chest, and abdomen. His 11th rib was broken, and the doctor found something else, an impression of a boot on Ethan's back. Damien Hauchultz, now 16, is charged as an adult with reckless homicide, 3 counts of child abuse, and 3 lesser felonies.
Make sure you don't get anyone else in trouble. From a recent real estate prospectus, the home where Ethan would be fatally injured seems an ideal place for a large, energetic young family. Spacious royal property with over 3,600 square feet, 5 bedrooms, and 3 full baths. A large eat-in kitchen with an island and tiled floors. Living room with a fireplace, first floor laundry, and formal dining room make for comfortable living. All of this on 1.8 acre lot, just minutes south of the city limits. For Ethan and his siblings, it was meant to be a safe haven, offering a fresh start. 6 weeks after he turned 3, he suffered physical abuse at the hands of his mother's then boyfriend. Records from the State Department of Children and Family show. From July 2014 to March 2016, after caseworkers confirmed 3 allegations of neglect against Ethan's mother and one against his father, Manitowoc County Human Services officials decided Ethan and his siblings could not remain in the custody of either parent. The children, a report says, were deemed the children, a report says, were deemed unsafe. Ethan and 2 of his siblings were placed with their great uncle Timothy in 2016. The fourth was placed somewhere else. An investigation began almost immediately after Ethan, clinging to life, was brought to Holy Family. And in an interview with members of the Hauchultz family, deputies learned more about Timothy's role in delegating and delivering punishment to the children. They noted similarities in the children's stories about discipline. They also learned Damien called Timothy for advice several times during the afternoon. Ethan was killed. In an interview with deputies, Damien recounted a conversation as the family drove Ethan to the hospital that afternoon. Timothy told him to say Ethan fell out of a tree or that nothing happened. Make sure, he said, you don't get anyone else in trouble. I put memories of darkness in people's minds. Timothy's first recorded run-in with the law was at age 15, when he whacked a man with a tire iron in a bar fight involving older members of his family. At 18, he helped acquaintances beat a man up until the victim required 3 days of intensive care, joining in when someone said the man had stolen one of Timothy's cassette tapes. A year later, Timothy grabbed a clerk at Two Rivers convenience store, flashed a long blade butcher knife, and made her empty the cash register of $211. He seemed to enjoy himself, the clerk told police, smirking while pulling the knife. Before he was sentenced, he asked a judge for help with anger and psychiatric issues for alcoholism. He warned he might become violent again. I put memories of darkness in people's minds, he said. I hurt people physically. If I don't change my life, they'll have to always be afraid of me or wonder if I'll attack them or anyone else again. E. James Fitzgerald, Manitowoc County's district attorney at the time, told the judge, the only thing this court can do to protect society from him is to put him in prison. Timothy was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison for the robbery and 18 months for issuing bad checks. Judge Fred Hazelwood issued a stern warning to Timothy, who was then a father of one with another child on the way, that he had no business fathering children. In 1999, when Timothy was 29, he was in trouble again. Inside the Golden Flame, a Manitowoc family restaurant, he and another man exchanged words. As the argument grew heated, Timothy dove across the man's table, breaking dishes and glassware, and held a steak knife to the man's throat. When social workers, attorneys, and judges went through the process of placing Ethan and his siblings with Timothy, records of those cases were readily available in the Manitowoc County Courthouse. So too was a file on a 2009 case 9 years before Ethan's death, involving Timothy, violence, and children. The 2009 incident began with an act of youthful defiance. Two boys had taken food into the living room. One had listened to music without asking. Timothy whacked the older boy, 14, across the arm with a 6-foot carpenter's level, then used it to crack the 12-year-old in the side. He then grabbed a 3-foot long piece of wood, backed the older boy into a hallway, and hit him on the shoulders and head. Later, he went back to the kitchen and smashed the wood on a table, threw it at one of the boys, and broke a window. Pacing, he demanded they clean up the mess. Prosecutors charged him with felony child abuse. Timothy insisted he'd done nothing wrong. His then wife, though, wrote to a judge before sentencing that his mental status concerns me regarding the mind control tactics he uses with the boys. The younger boys filled out a form about what he wanted the judge to include in Timothy's sentence, circling get help from a doctor or counselor, stay away from me, and stay away from other kids. On a court form asking how he felt, the boy drew faces labeled sad and scared.
The abuser's record didn't matter. A record listing Timothy's no contest plea to felony child abuse remains in a file at the courthouse.
Hello?
Are you serious? You couldn't hear me? Hold on a second. The abuser's record didn't matter. A record listing Timothy's no contest plea to felony child abuse remains in a file at the courthouse, showing he chose not to contest the allegations. But when it came time for county social workers to decide if he'd be a suitable guardian for Ethan and his siblings, authorities were barred from considering the abuse. Let's see here. Give me a minute here.
We love when chickens listen.
And I just lost my
It's okay. Start over.
Yeah, I gotta get back to where I was.
We've put so many videos out, so we deserve a little.
Right?
Well, it would help if my phone wasn't a clusterfuck.
I told you, just trade me.
Why, Lexi? You'll break that phone too, honey.
So, let's see here. So, they were barred from considering the abuse. Judge Jerome Fox found Timothy guilty. A conviction could have sent him to prison for 6 years and cost him $10,000 in fines, but it didn't go on his record as a child abuse conviction. Fox did not enter the conviction into the record because of a plea agreement between Timothy's lawyer and then district attorney Mark Rohrer. The conviction entered a kind of legal limbo. If Timothy avoided further trouble for 18 months, the judge would find him guilty of a lesser offense. In the summer of 2011, Fox found Timothy guilty of a disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor. There's no mention of a child victim in the conviction. In the eyes of the law, his actions had merely disrupted good order and provoked a disturbance to corrupt the public's morals or outrage the sense of public decency. If a person is charged with child abuse but convicted of a lesser crime, caseworkers can't consider the abuse charges, said Tom McCarthy, spokesman for the State Department of Children and Family Services. Children and Families. That's true even if the adult did not contest the allegations and even if those allegations are documented in a public court file. But Wisconsin law did allow authorities to consider other convictions while they were trying to find a safe guardian for Ethan and his siblings. Timothy had convictions for armed robbery and for conspiracy to commit battery. Manitowoc County Human Services officials won't say what they knew about Timothy's history when they decided that he would make a suitable caregiver for Ethan and his siblings, but they said they always check the criminal records of adults they're considering as guardians or foster parents of vulnerable children. The state official said that while certain criminal convictions bar adults from becoming foster parents, for example, sexual assault, intentional homicide, kidnapping, lesser convictions may not, particularly if the adult is a relative of the child. If you're in a county that doesn't have a lot of placement opportunities for vulnerable children, you're eventually going to have to start looking at situations where people have a criminal record, McCarthy said. In an email responding to questions from the Herald Times reporter, Manawak County officials said that in assessing adults, the county reviews its own child abuse case records, court records, and sex offender registry, and records from police and the state's Justice Department. They also conduct home visits to see if children are safe under the adult's care. As Ethan's great uncle, Timothy had a point in his favor. The county also follows a federal guideline that states must consider placing a child with an adult relative over a non-relative, though they are not required to do so. Kinship care, as it's known, helps a child maintain family and community ties while reducing the chance he will later commit crimes or become homeless, Human Services Director Patricia Dodge wrote. Officials generally don't speak with prosecutors about previous cases before placing a child in a new home, Dodge said. But she said the department is aware of all child abuse convictions and would consider all information, including whether the abuser participated in therapy that would adequately address an old child abuse conviction. Timothy requested therapy after he was jailed following the convenience store robbery. Court records from the robbery, the restaurant attack, and the child abuse allegation offer no indication that he underwent any type of therapy or counseling. After a child is in a new home, the county does monthly visits, speaking with the child and checking for signs of abuse. In Ethan's case, caseworkers would have checked him monthly from March 2016 until Hauchultz became his legal guardian several months later. After that, Dodge said, the department no longer has involvement in the case. 10 months after Ethan's death, prosecutors filed felony charges against Damien, Timothy, and Damien's mother, Tina McKeever Hauchultz, which, let me tell you something, you talk about giving a beauty shop a challenge, look at that mug right there. A criminal complaint alleges all had a role in the case. It spells out charges that could send each person to prison for decades. Timothy is accused of ordering the punishment. He's charged with murder as party to a crime, 3 counts of felony child abuse as party to a crime, and 4 lesser charges. He's due back in court on January the 27th. Damien, accused of delivering the blows that killed Ethan, is charged with first-degree reckless homicide, 3 counts of felony child abuse, and 3 of felony battery. He's due in court December 2nd. His attorney has asked a judge to allow him to be tried as a minor. Tina is charged with intentionally contributing to the delinquency causing death as party to a crime, a felony, and 2 counts of child abuse and failure to protect bodily harm. Her next court appearance is January the 6th. But as the people charged in connection with Ethan's killing await their day in court, it's difficult to come by answers from the officials who decided he'd be safe with Timothy. County Human Services officials won't discuss the specifics of Ethan's death, saying state law bars them from doing so. Well, isn't that fucking convenient? It's devastating to learn that a child was abused to the point of death, Dodge wrote in her letter to the Herald Times reporter. Child welfare staff works diligently to protect children from abuse and neglect and are committed to assisting families to become healthy and well-functioning. What's also unclear is how often the county places a child with an adult who has been found guilty of child abuse. There are no statistics available, she wrote, to answer those questions. One of the county's answers to 14 questions from the Herald Times reporter, 7 begin, Manawak County cannot comment on a specific case. So basically, no comment. I'm sorry. Yep. It's an active investigation. All the same usual bullshit. And it'll get swept under the rug, and then they'll go on to do it to other kids like they always.
Yep.
Right. Right? And this happened in 2019.
And out of all the research like that I've done, it's just it's really the same things. Um, I wish I want to know more about where the parents um where the parents were, how did they end up, you know, where they end up at, where was this little boy's mom at?
Well, it sounds like both of his parents from the article, and I'm sure that we can dig deeper if that's what you want to do, but it looks like both the parents were, dad was in jail and mom was dealing with, questionable issues. Um, mental health, drugs, I don't know what the case is, but it
Yeah,
sounds like that's what was happening in that.
this poor child for not knowing the Bible. Like, are you? Oh God! Uh, and the woman. I can't stand what the woman looks like. I am so sorry. Like, look at this. This is horrible. Why is her neck stuck that way? Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. why is why is her neck stuck like that? Like, I can't.
Okay, well, we understand you're upset about it too. Come here. Come on.
But this is just another. They failed him. They put him into the arms of a criminal, and I guess his background did not even matter. And then the boy, I guess. Let me see. Hold on. Um, Trying to find another article.
He pled guilty to the murder charge. But I think that's the only charge out of the 7 that he was charged with that he
So,
pled guilty to.
okay, so he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Who For the death of his 7-year-old relative in 2018, who was beaten and tortured for not knowing verses from the Bible. Uh, these cases make me so sick. Mr. Hauchultz faces trial December, 8 charges. It's always the same thing, always. And the more that we get into all these cases, it's just a lot of it is the same thing.
There's so many warning signs. I mean, when you look at the charges that Timothy had from jump, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he
mean,
was
disregard the child abuse charge. The other charges alone, I don't get how they were. I don't care if he is family or not. He should have never been placed in that man's care.
Oh, and then the
no, no. That man shouldn't be raising his own kids, let alone somebody else's.
and then what did we say? The siblings they went to the same family, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, they went to the same family. It's just horrible. Just
Hey,
disgusting.
Harley.
Disgusting. Hey, Harley, did you email me? Oh, where's the chat at? Why am I on? Oh, did you email me so I can go look for it? So just another horrible CPS failure case.
And then this woman, um, I don't know. I don't know why her neck's stuck like that. It looks like she's got a case of terminal side eye, is what it looks like.
And she looks fucking retarded. Not yet. Had a busy day. Okay, just let me know. I'll check my messages. But yeah, if you guys have any more case recommendations for CPS, we have a couple more, but we're gonna end it for tonight because we've done so many. um, but we have a lot more coming. It's just ridiculous how many there are.
There's too many, but like I said, th- these cases people don't know about, and you know,
I
um,
never knew about this case. Like I
making it, compiling them so that people can see this isn't happening in one place at one time. This is happening everywhere, every day.
Yep.
Exactly. And this is just a small fraction. This is happening everywhere and no one sees it. And, I'm glad that this channel is calling it out. These panels that we do on these cases are important so that so many people can become aware of them. And Lexi, I think that when you have access to your computer, you need to go into your studio and create a separate playlist just for these CPS failure cases.
Well, I'm on my
Absolutely.
computer. How do I do that?
I can guide you through it when we get off of here.
Okay. Yeah, because we have these, and then we have our pedo, and then we have our just other ones. But the CPS, we definitely should make one just for these cases.
Yeah, Thomas, remind me, I want to ask you something too when we get off of here.
Okay.
So we'll do a little call. Um,
I don't know what's going on with my screen, guys. I think it's me. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. My computer's not, but I am.
Did Lexi fall asleep on us?
She probably muted herself.
all right.
Oh,
Hello.
you're here.
My kids turned off something like a switch. I don't know. And it just turned off everything. Hey, Barbara, how are you? Um, but yeah, so please make sure guys give these videos a like, share as much as you can. Subscribe to Arctic Fox True Crime as well. And let's keep talking about these cases.
Yes, yes. We're gonna keep talking until we can't talk no more. It's important. Once again, if we can stop it before it happens, then maybe there's a day that Thomas won't have to put out 20 videos.
Exactly. Even though he would come up with something where he would put out 30 more.
But they wouldn't be new.
I know. Hey, Christina, how are you? So do you guys have anything else to say?
No, I'm pretty proud of us. We're at 35 minutes and getting ready to wrap up.
Yes. Finally. Arctic, are you done?
I think he's looking for his computer.
Oh,
I'm completely good with this one. I'm just on my computer right now trying to get to where I need to be at to show you how to create that playlist.
okay.
All
Well,
right, guys.
yeah. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share our channel on your Facebook as well. We just need to get as many people to subscribe as we can so these cases can be seen and can be heard. It's very important. So give our videos a like, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope everybody has a great night. Please say a prayer for all of our children. And remember, if you see something, say something. Nothing is too small.
Good night,
Exactly.
guys.
Right.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, Sarah. Everybody subscribe to Sarah Jean as well. She is starting her channel off. Arctic. We need to start sharing her stuff. Um,
I can definitely do that.
yeah. So, Sarah, we got to get you up and moving. Thank you, everyone else. And Harley, don't forget to email me. Good night, Barbara. And I will speak to you in just a minute. Arctic.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.